In a world marked by corruption and violence, the days leading up to the flood were dark and filled with iniquity. The earth was full of wickedness, and the hearts of men continually turned toward evil. And the Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth. Genesis 6:5. At the center of this story we find Noah, a righteous man in the midst of a perverse generation. His spirit was anguished, for he carried on his shoulders the weight of the responsibility given by God to save creation. Noah felt the pressure of a divine call, and his faith was constantly tested in a world that mocked his actions. As he built the ark, disbelief and hostility surrounded him, but in his heart burned a flame of hope, for he knew that the truth would be revealed. "I will make a covenant with you. You will enter the ark, you and your sons and your wife and the wives of your sons." Genesis 6:18. The anticipation of what was to come hung in the air as Noah prepared to face not only the wrath of nature, but also the disdain of the humanity around him. Curiosity about the fate of the earth and humanity pulsed, and the story was about to unfold in a dramatic and revealing manner. Days passed slowly for Noah as he tirelessly worked on building the ark. Each plank he placed seemed to carry not only the weight of the wood, but also the burden of his responsibility. "Why me?" he thought, as the sun set on the horizon. The golden light illuminated his face, but in his heart, there was a deep conflict. He knew his call was divine, but disbelief surrounded him like an oppressive veil. Neighbors laughed at his colossal work, mocking him as if he were mad. "This man is building a vessel in the middle of dry land. Where are the waters, he fears?" One of them shouted as others joined in laughter. Noah paused for a moment, feeling the pain of their words. "Lord, how can I do this? How can I convince these people that judgment is approaching?" he murmured, looking to the sky. He remembered the words God had spoken to him. "But with you I will establish my covenant. You and your sons and your wife and your sons' wives will enter the ark." Genesis 6:18. This promise sustained him amidst the disdain. The faith that guided him was like a beacon in the storm. Meanwhile, his wife Naamah watched from a distance, worried. "Noah, you must worry about what people are saying. It's not just the ark. It's our life, our future," she said, her voice trembling with anxiety. "I know, Naamah, but the Lord spoke to me. He gave me a mission and I cannot fail," Noah replied with determination, yet also with a touch of doubt he couldn't hide. Noah's sons were also involved in the construction, but the tension was palpable. Not to mention the constant interruptions from neighbors, the pressure to conform to societal norms was overwhelming. "Dad, what if nothing happens? What if all this is in vain?" asked Shem, the eldest, with a worried look. "What will we do if all this is just a fable?" added Japheth, the second son, trying to hide the uncertainty in his voice. "We have to believe, my sons. Faith is what sustains us," Noah responded, trying to convey courage even as his own faith wavered. The narrator watched from afar, feeling the intensity of the scene. The weight of Noah's responsibility was clear not only in his actions but also in his expressions. The determination mixed with fear, hope intertwined with doubt. Each passing day brought new challenges but also a growing conviction that the truth he upheld would one day be revealed. The ark was more than just a boat. It was the salvation of creation, and Noah was determined to fulfill what was entrusted to him, even as the world around him continued to lose itself in its own wickedness. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. The ark, now raised in its majestic form, became a symbol of hope for Noah, but also a point of contention. The neighbors' disdain turned into something fiercer. They now gathered in groups, murmuring and making plans to confront Noah. "This man is embarrassing us," one of them shouted, waving his arms as others cheered. The pressure was mounting, and Noah felt the weight of the mission becoming unbearable. That night, while the moon illuminated the sky, Noah retreated to reflect in an isolated corner of the land. "Lord, it is hard to carry this burden. The mockery, the doubt of my sons. Am I really hearing your voice? What if I'm wrong?" He pondered, his mind filled with uncertainties. He felt the growing tension, not only regarding external threats but also within his own home. God's words echoed in his mind, "And the Lord saw that the wickedness of man had increased on the earth." Genesis 6:5. He knew that judgment was approaching, but his faith was being tested each day. "We are fighting against a sea of unbelief, Father," said Japheth, sitting beside him. People not only doubt you, but also begin to turn against us. What will we do if this continues? The anxiety in his son's voice was palpable. Shem, in turn, looked on with concern, realizing that building the ark was not only separating his family from the rest of society, but also isolating them emotionally. What we are doing is right, but each passing day I wonder if we are truly prepared for what is to come, he admitted, struggling against the growing unease. Noah took a deep breath, trying to find the strength he once felt. We are doing what the Lord has commanded us. The ark is a reflection of our faith, but also of our determination to remain steadfast amidst the storm. Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord, Genesis 6:8. This grace sustains us. However, the words sounded empty in his mind like a distant echo. He began to realize that the mission was not just about building an ark, but about rescuing their own souls amidst the darkness that surrounded humanity. As the stars shone in the sky, Noah remained silent, feeling the weight of the decisions he was making. He knew that every plank he sawed, every nail he hammered was a step toward an uncertain future. What once seemed like a divine call was now turning into a monumental challenge that required not only faith, but courage in the face of a world that refused to believe. As Noah contemplated the starry sky, a storm of emotions built up inside him. The weight of doubt was becoming almost unbearable, and he wondered if he truly had the strength to continue. It's so easy to lose faith when everything around us crumbles, he reflected inwardly. I remember when God spoke to me for the first time saying, "Make for yourself an ark of cypress wood. Make rooms in the ark." Genesis 6:14. It was so clear, so simple. But now, clarity is lost among the voices of mockery and disbelief. Meanwhile, Japheth and Shem were at an emotional crossroads. What if our obedience costs more than we can bear? Japheth questioned, his voice trembling. He remembered his father's words about the importance of remaining steadfast, but the external pressure was affecting his faith. Shem, observing his brother's internal struggle, felt a wave of compassion mixed with despair. We need to unite, Japheth. If we don't have faith in each other, how can we have faith in what our Father is doing? The tension between the brothers grew, reflecting the fragility of the faith that once united them. Noah noticed the conflict between his sons, feeling powerless to resolve the issues arising not only within the family, but also around them. I am the leader here, but the responsibility weighs on my shoulders, he thought. He knew that his decisions affected not only the construction of the ark, but also the lives and future of his family. And I, Noah, am a righteous man, but what does that mean for those I love? The moral dilemma haunted him, and he wondered if his obedience would be enough to ensure protection for all. Tension in the community was intensifying. Neighbors, once merely skeptical, were now becoming hostile, and small acts of vandalism began to occur. Hearing the wrathful voices coming from the town, Noah knew that the situation was about to become uncontrollable. How can I be a beacon of hope in such a dark place? For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Jeremiah 29:11, he reflected, trying to cling to these promises. But uncertainty hung in the air. Noah's decisions to continue the work, challenging skepticism and hostility, were now shaping not only his destiny, but also that of his family and humanity. He was in an emotional labyrinth, each choice leading to new complications. Building the ark was becoming a metaphor not only for salvation, but also for internal struggle and resistance against a sea of unbelief that threatened to engulf them. Lord, give me the courage to persevere and the wisdom to guide my family through this storm, he prayed, his voice almost a whisper in the vastness of the night. As the storm approached, Noah felt a wave of determination overtake him. Looking at the ark that was beginning to take shape, he remembered the words echoing in his mind. Behold, I establish my covenant with you and with your descendants after you. Genesis 9:9. It was a powerful reminder that his mission transcended the present. It was about the continuity of life and God's promise. He took a deep breath and decided to face the growing hostility around him. With a steady voice, he addressed his neighbors, who were gathering in an angry group. I am building this ark for the salvation of many, not for the condemnation of anyone. For as it was in the days of Noah, so it will be at the coming of the Son of Man. Matthew 24:37, he proclaimed. His words cut through the heavy air of disdain, but the disdainful look of many still challenged him. Japheth and Shem, watching their father, felt a mix of pride and fear. Japheth, who had previously hesitated, now stood beside his father, his voice trembling but firm. "We believe in what you are doing, Father. We are not alone in this fight." Shem, with tears in his eyes, confirmed, "United, we will be stronger. Therefore do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God." Isaiah 41:10. The crowd's reaction was immediate. Some began to retreat, confused by the determination now emanating from Noah and his sons. Others, however, advanced, determined to disrupt the construction. The tension was palpable. Noah felt his heart race, but faith was beginning to replace fear. He looked into the eyes of Japheth and Shem, feeling the strength of familial unity. "Let us continue, children. If God is with us, who can be against us? In all these things we are more than conquerors through him who loved us." Romans 8:37, Noah exclaimed, feeling a new wave of hope. The ark was not just a project, but a symbol of resistance, faith, and God's covenant with those who believed. With this new determination, he and his sons turned to the ark, ready to face whatever came. The decisive moment had arrived, and together, they prepared for the approaching storm, not only from the sky, but also from the soul of humanity. As the storm unfolded, Noah and his sons continued to work on the ark, their calloused hands shaping the wood, their hearts steadfast in faith. Even as the winds howled and the rain began to fall, their determination did not waver. They knew that by obeying God, they were fulfilling a call that would echo through the generations. The Lord is good, a refuge in times of trouble. He cares for those who trust in him. Nahum 1:7. Noah's words echoed in his mind as he watched the people who once despised him now retreat, fearing the storm and the fate they might face. The reality of divine judgment was beginning to penetrate their hearts. Some approached seeking shelter and forgiveness, while others continued to mock and doubt. Noah, in his compassion, remembered that God is love, 1 John 4:8, and wished that all could find redemption. Over time, the ark was completed, and the rain began to flood the earth. Noah and his family entered, bringing along the animals, and the door was sealed. "I am going to bring a flood of waters on the earth to destroy all life under the heavens." Genesis 6:17. The waters began to rise, and the voices of the crowd fell silent, leaving Noah and his family in a reflective silence, surrounded by the safety of the ark. In his thoughts, Noah reflected on the events that led him there. "I was afraid, but faith sustained me." Obedience is not easy, but it is the only road that leads to salvation. He understood that his mission was not just to build an ark, but also to cultivate hope and faith in a world that had lost its way. The narrator then observes that Noah's story teaches us about the importance of faith and obedience to God. Even in the face of hostility and disdain, Noah and his family's determination became a testament that divine justice prevails. Those who seek shelter in God's promise will find salvation, while disobedience leads to destruction. The storm may be terrifying, but the ark of faith is a safe haven amidst the chaos.